Hey folks, Silas here. Welcome back to the channel, and it's our favorite time of the week. This is when we get to dive into the latest insider activity by the smart money, by the most influential players in the markets. And boy, this week did not disappoint. So let's dive right in and take a look at the latest commitment of trader report. Now, if you recall, we looked at the S&P a couple weeks ago, and what we saw were a lot of new buying, new fresh buying by some of the largest institutions. When we talk about smart money that we're tracking right here through the CFTC.gov commitment of traders report, we are taking and extracting the data of the non-commercials or the smart money. Now, remember the smart money, these are hedge funds, these are pension funds, these are central banks, these are insurance companies, prop firms. These are the guys that are in the market to make a profit. They care about paper profits. We're not following the commercials, which are the smartest guys in the room. Those are the guys that are hedging interests that they own, that they're processing, that they're producing, that they're mining, farming, growing, harvesting, and more. So we go back to the financial markets or the S&P 500 in this example. Remember, 2 weeks ago, this is where we talked about smart money, i.e. hedge funds buying in and buying inside. Now, over the last 2 weeks of data, we started getting some clues that smart money was liquidating their holdings, and this was all likely due heading into what is now dubbed Liberation Day or Trump Tariff Day that we saw this past week, and it brought some explosive fireworks to the table. But did smart money know exactly what was going to happen before it did happen? Look at the data here. Notice over the last couple weeks here, we saw massive liquidations in the S&P 500. We saw this across the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the Russell, but we like to look at the S&P 500 because that is where primarily the institutions are participating. On the heels of our last report where we saw smart money pushing prices higher, in fact, about a 3.5% move higher, we started to see long liquidations through the COT report. So we saw the week after adding nearly 32,000 contracts to the long side, they then shorted or liquidated 17,000 contracts. Then the following week, just last week, they liquidated nearly 88,000 contracts in the S&P. That is huge volume, huge size, and it shows conviction. Not only did they liquidate 88,000 contracts, they also added 41,000 contracts to the short side. Those are two bearish indicators or bearish positioning in the market. So you add this up and this up, that gives you a net change of 128,000 contracts. Just like that, with the flip of a switch, that took the net position of the non-commercials or smart money, net long 67,000 contracts to net short 61,000 contracts. Now, we just got new fresh data ending Friday, April 4th. Let's see what the data tells us. We now see a little bit of a bullish posture here in the markets. Why? Because after 2 weeks of nearly 100,000 contracts being liquidated, we now see 44,000 contracts added to the long side. And in addition, though, we see another 17,000 contracts added to the short side. So this is bullish, this is bearish. You add those two up, gives us a net change of 27,000 contracts. All in all, it does reduce the net position from 61,000 contracts net short to now only 35,000 contracts net short. So overall, still bearish, but this is a bullish positioning or bullish posture in the wake of some brutal selling that we've seen over the last couple of weeks and really over the last month or month and a half. So the real question heading into next week is, will this capitulation be done and over with? Will we see a relief rally? Only time will tell. It's likely going to be heavily based on what headlines we see hit the tape and whatever comes out of the mouth of our dear president here in the United States. Good luck, good trading. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the next update.